Good morning, folks. It's great to see you this morning, and we trust the Lord will give us a wonderful day of worship together. We do have one of our dear sisters in the hospital in very, very critical condition, Sister Carol, and I'd like to pray for her right now. Gracious Father, we come to you always with different kinds of needs, problems, situations in life, Lord, where we can't do anything. We don't control things. We don't know what the best is. But we trust you. We know you. And we intercede for our dear sister today, Carol. There in the hospital, and pray, Lord, your hand of mercy and grace upon her. We know that you are the great physician. We know what you are able to do at your will. We thank you for your promise of your presence with her and with her family, with Fred, and Paul and Jenny, and their families, her children, grandchildren, Lord, and her church family here. And I received a text this morning that she did have a good night. And they were encouraged with that hope. And so we continue to intercede for her and pray your great blessings upon her. Watch over her. Use the physicians, the nurses, and those that will be assisting her, Lord, during this time of affliction. Lord, I pray for the message this morning, that you would bless it. Help me to present the things that I have studied very earnestly and intensely this week, to present a most difficult and challenging, sobering message. I'm thinking it's probably the most sobering I've ever preached. There are implications for the unsaved as well as the saved. Help us as we place our attention upon your word and allow the Holy Spirit of God to work in our midst. And we'll give you the praise for this in Jesus' name. Amen. Take your Bibles, if you would, please, and turn to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. This morning, by God's grace, I'm going to conclude this series I've been doing, emanating from the book of James. James in chapter 5 was kind of the springboard for the last few weeks as I preached on the last days. As James, probably the first book of the New Testament, advises his people that the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. And so I use that as a springboard to preach a few messages, starting with the rapture, which is the next event that Christians are to be looking for. We're to be looking for that blessed hope. That's really the one thing. We're to be looking and we're to be working. We're not looking for anything else. We're not looking for any more signs. We're looking for the Lord to return in the skies and to catch up, to rapture His bride away, the saved. We've seen in our Scriptures that terms that the Bible writers used 2,000 years ago. The Lord is at hand, is coming. It draweth nigh. Even Jesus said, I come quickly. But now we've moved into the second event that's going to occur after the rapture, and that is the tribulation. Those that are not raptured, Jesus is coming for the saved. What about those who are not saved? We're just referring to those as those left behind. Left behind. And that's the title that I placed this week and last week, Left Behind. And we're looking at 3 points. The first point is the unveiling. The unveiling. Chapter 2 of 2 Thessalonians. Follow along as I begin with verse 1. And I'm just, little title on this, just fake news. Fake news. We have a lot of fake news in our society today. People proclaiming to say the truth, but it's mixed with error or opinion. In chapter 2, verse 1, now we beseech you, brethren. So Paul says, listen, brethren, I'm begging you, I'm reaching out to you by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto Him. So Paul says, what I'm going to say to you is in light of the rapture, which Paul had spoken about to them in 1 Thessalonians, his first letter to them, chapter 4. So I'm beseeching you, I'm begging you, pay attention based on the rapture. Verse 2, that ye be not soon shaken in mind. Okay? Someone had come along and troubled them. And that's what false doctrine does. False doctrine causes you to do things that you don't have to do, that are unnecessary, unneedful in this life. And that's why it's so important and why the Bible writers stress growing in the Lord, knowing the Word of God, concentrating on that. Because the enemies come along, the chief enemy, Satan, and his satanic trinity, and his ministers, the demons, they come along as they are here, and they're trying to shake. There's a shaking of the mind, trying to confuse, trying to disorient, trying to mix up Christians as to what they're supposed to be doing. And he loves to sidetrack us. And that's why our concentration in the day that we're living right now is to be focused on Christ and His coming. That is the forefront of our mind. But Satan loves to distract us. I believe he's always tried to do that. Just one of his tactics. But attacking the mind, attacking what we're thinking and what we're putting in the forefront, what we're talking about. I see the same thing could possibly go on today. Satan could get us to think about COVID. And all we're thinking about and all we're talking about is COVID instead of Christ. And I thought of the early church, Paul writing to the early church. What were they to be thinking about? Think about Christ is coming. The Lord is coming back. He didn't say, now think about Herod. You know how bad Herod is. Think about him. Think about Pilate. Think about Nero. No, none of that. Anywhere in Scripture. Think about Christ. And that should be our conversations with people. What was the early church? Maranatha. That was the normal greeting. Both Cairo, which is rejoice, were the two common greetings of the day. Rejoice. And Maranatha, Jesus is coming. Okay? That is where we need to be. But the enemies love to deceive and to lie to us and to confuse us. We saw last week, and we'll get to that at the end of the message, we saw last week in verse 15 how Paul said to them, therefore be steadfast. The idea of being, holding your position. Hold those traditional teachings. Stand. And what the enemies are trying to do is to get us to move. Move away from where God would have our mind, our conversations to be. And that being about the Lord. Hold those things. We saw that those were imperatives. So Paul's not saying, listen, I'm just giving you my opinion. Now he can do that. He was the apostle. He was their founding pastor. Okay? And he said, I'm giving an imperative. I'm commanding you. Present tense. This is what you ought to be regularly doing when you gather together and when you're alone by yourself. Jesus has come. Think about that. He says soon here, that you be not soon shaken. Isn't that just like the enemies? A few months later, Paul writes a second letter. Just in that short amount of time, from him teaching and writing on the rapture, the enemies have popped in. We got to confuse them. We got to get their mind on other things. You know, they're thinking about Jesus coming. We got to shake them up. We don't want them steadfast. We don't want them holding on to the traditional teachings of the rapture and other things that Paul told. Let's get them to think about other things. Let's get their mind detoured away. That's how the enemies, they act sooner versus later. That's why new Christians, when the seed is sown with them and they receive it, why we need to get to them, why we need to follow up with them, why we need to encourage them. Because the enemies don't waste any time. I've told you before, in speaking with missionaries that were in closed countries, and then maybe the Berlin Wall would fall down, or other bamboo curtain in other countries where missionaries were forbidden to go, and then all of a sudden they can now get into these places. The missionaries that I spoke to said, we go in, and before the first people we meet are the cults. The cults are already there. They beat us in there. And that's exactly what Satan is trying to do to converts, to the unsaved as well soon. And Paul says here, neither be shaken in mind or be troubled. It's an interesting word. It's the word alarmed. Like, don't be alarmed. You're going through some tough times now. We'll see that in just a minute. But this is not the tribulation that's coming. Someone's trying to confuse you. Okay? Don't be alarmed. Thus the enemies want to cause you to doubt and to worry and to wonder. Because he says there, neither by spirit nor by word nor by letter as from us, as at the day of Christ is at hand. So what was the source of this fake news? Okay? This false doctrine. Okay? Maybe it came from a spirit. Paul said, I don't know where it came from. It didn't come from us. So the spirit could have been a demon. It wouldn't be surprising. Paul talked to Timothy about doctrines of demons. Their doctrines are contrary to what God would teach. And so Paul said, I don't know, maybe it was a spirit that came. And if a spirit can come then and try to deceive and lie, do you think a spirit could do that today with many people? Sure he could. Sure he could. So it says here, not from us, by spirit, nor by word. Okay? I'd never said anything. People can always put words in your mouth. It happens all the time, unfortunately. Well, Pastor said this, or Susie said this, or the church said, when maybe it didn't happen at all. But people can say that. See, if you're a liar and a deceiver, you don't have to have the right sources. You can just say, someone said, or Paul said. It goes on today in journalism. Well, my source said. But they don't identify their source because they're lying and they're deceiving, possibly. He says, or letter. Paul said, we didn't write a letter. But somebody maybe wrote a letter and put Paul's name on it. Counterfeit. And counterfeit is one of the tactics of the devil. And we'll see that in just a moment as well. Counterfeiting a lot of the things of the Lord. So Paul says this is fake news. This is not unveiling truth. This is unveiling fake news and false doctrine. Secondly, what was unveiled was not only fake news, but the false Messiah. Notice the last part of verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, to be unveiled, the son of perdition. A lot of deceivers out there, okay? He goes on and talks, later we'll see here, about miracles and stuff. There's a lot of deception that goes on by Satan, trying to persuade people away from the traditional teachings. The day of Christ here is the day of the Lord's return to earth, okay? There's two parts of the Lord's coming, first in the air and then to the earth. And Paul's saying, this is the rapture. The rapture is what I've written to you about. What you're going through, yes, there's some hard times and there's some difficult challenges, but it's not the tribulation, okay? That's not here. The day of Christ, when He comes to this earth, it's not that particular time. You study out the Antichrist, you can look through some of the prophetic books of the Old Testament or the book of Revelation, And you see that the Antichrist, he's unveiled, but he's also unthroned by the King of Kings. The middle of the tribulation, the Antichrist who has allowed the Jews to rebuild the temple, which could be going on now, they say, and it surely would fit with Scripture, but by the time that halfway through that tribulation and they're worshiping, they've reinstituted the system of sacrifice, and everybody's happy. That's what kind of has brought peace to everybody, this sense of peace. And in the middle of that, you know, the Antichrist will say, now you have to worship me. Now I want to focus upon me, and the 666 and all that takes place at that particular time. Look at just chapter 1. Just look right across the page, probably in your Bibles. Let's kind of see what they were going through. Verse 4. So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of God for your patience and faith and all your persecutions and tribulations that ye endure. So they were going through tribulations. Normal things of life. You and I go through tribulations. Okay? People in our church go through tribulations and persecution. It's just part of being a Christian. But it's not the tribulation. But someone was lying and deceiving them, saying, oh, we're in that time. And they're confused because, well, Paul told us that we'd be raptured away from that. And Paul's writing to clarify that. Verse 5, which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of God, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of God, for which ye also suffer. It's an honor to suffer for God, to be persecuted, to go through tribulation like this. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And to you who are troubled, rest with us. I remember preaching this many years ago, and this word rest is the Greek word anison. It's kind of like, not Advil, but anison. Take an anison, okay? Take a rest. It's going to be okay. You're going through all this trouble. Rest with us. When the Lord Jesus shall be revealed, this is that day of Christ. This is what Paul's saying. This is when Christ comes. When the Lord shall be revealed from heaven with His mighty angels in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not God. And we'll see more of that later, okay, in our text. God coming back with us, okay? We've been raptured, probably gone through the judgment seat of Christ, and we're given our eternal body, and now we're coming back to reign with Christ, okay? But He's going to take vengeance on them that know not God. These are the unsaved. And that obey not the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction. How do you usually when you think of destroying something, it's done. Okay? Here's everlasting. Hellfire never ends. Where the flame doesn't die out. Where the worm does not die. Okay? It's eternal punishment for not getting saved. You've had a choice and you chose not to get saved. From the presence of the Lord and from the glory of His power. Notice again in verses 8 and 9, and then shall that wicked be revealed, that wicked one, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of His mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of His coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Okay? Jesus called him a liar and a murderer. And that's who the Lord is going to consume there. The battle of Armageddon, okay? And He's going to take the Antichrist. This is not right now, is what Paul is saying. He is a fake and he's a falsifier. He's a liar and a deceiver. You can't trust him. And so this first future event is going to be the rapture. The second is going to be the tribulation. And Satan, during this time with his host, are going to do miracles. Okay? They're going to imitate the miracles of Christ. Okay? But that's what he is. He's an imitator. He tries to copy everything that God is and does. And that's why ultimately he looks for that worship of Him in the temple. Sadly, there are going to be many that believe him. But he's always been an imitator. False miracles to deceive. Just think back in the days of Pharaoh with his magicians. Okay? They could do magic or miracles, but they were fake. His false ministers or workers. We see Paul writing about them earlier in Corinthians. Okay? They transform themselves. They make themselves look as working for good and for God. There's the false gospel. There's false Christians who people say, I'm saved, but they're really not saved. There's a false church. Everything he imitates. And that's why in Revelation we see the synagogue of Satan. There's the false Trinity. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. We believe in a Trinity. One God in three persons. Satan has his satanic Trinity. The false prophet, the Antichrist, and Satan himself. There's false assurances. Satan will try to give false assurance to the false Christians. Remember, Jesus said, many in that day will say, well, Lord, haven't we done this in your name and done these mighty works? We've done all this. Lord, I've gone to church. I even got baptized. I did all this. I'm saved. Remember what Jesus said? I never knew you. I don't know you. All yours was outward things. You didn't know me from your heart. That's a false assurance that Satan will give. And a false hope, whereas Christ brings life and abundance and peace. Satan brings eternal death and pain and confusion. And this is all preceded by the apostasy. Verse 3, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away. Apostasy, the apostasy. It's going to proceed. You see it happening today. We're getting the birth pangs today. We're seeing these things working in our very day. I mean, look at church attendance. Lowest in Canadian history and U.S. history. The lowest. On my app this morning, on my phone, on the app. CTV News. Number of Canadians reporting religious affiliations at all-time low. The lowest number ever of Canadians saying, I'm religious. We're seeing a falling away. Look how doctrines are changing in churches. Look how churches have turned into rock bands and to, concerts that I used to go to, led by unsaved rock groups. Okay? And all kinds of false miracles and everything that's going on is all part of this last days movement. The healthy, wealthy, and wise movement. Enemies trying to deceive. The rise of cults. The idea of many roads that lead to heaven. The Antichrist opposes all that is God. If you want to stay home from church, I would pretty much tell you, Satan, if you could be here, Satan is trying to keep you away from church. Keep you from the ordinances, baptism, which we have next week, and the Lord's Supper, which Jesus commanded. This do in remembrance of me. So Satan says, stay home, take it easy. Offerings to pay for the work of the Lord Jesus Christ through His local churches. Service, don't get involved. You're too busy. You've got more important things to do than serve. He opposes all that is God. Everything he does is characterized by deception and lies. But if you and I were Satan, how would we get people duped and deceived by keeping them in a false religion. Maybe by doing miracles or saying that you can do miracles. Okay? Or maybe keeping them duped because, there's a statue that bleeds. This religion must be right. Satan can do these things. And he's doing them today, and he will especially do them in the tribulation. Let's don't be fooled in these last days. There's no generation alive ever in the history of the world that's seeing what we're seeing right now. Prophetically, and things lining up, knowledge increasing, all of this has never happened in the history of the world. And there are more people alive in the last 10 years than if you added up all the previous years of the whole world history. There's more people alive. The opportunity for us to reach people is at the greatest it's ever been. And that's ultimately what Paul's saying to these. Christ is coming. Therefore, verse 15, okay? Stand. Hold fast those traditions. Don't be taken in by false doctrine or false news. There's an unveiling coming. Secondly, let's look at the unbeliever, the rejection. Notice verses 6 and 7. And now ye know what withholdeth. Here he's speaking these two verses about the Holy Spirit. A way to understand the Holy Spirit is He is that which withholds. Okay? He prevents things. The Holy Spirit works in our lives as a Christian when we're tempted, to prompt us or to encourage us not to participate in that sin. He can't make us not do it, but He's prompting us, urging us, pricking us in our heart. He holds back the satanic world to a degree. Okay? He holds back the world in a degree. He's the restrainer. And now ye know what withholdeth, that He might be revealed in His time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until He be taken out of the way. Till the Holy Spirit is taken out of the way. Some people have described the ministry of the Holy Spirit. You remember in the Old Testament, this age of grace that we live in now, this is a unique age. We're going to be up in heaven speaking to Old Testament Christians, speaking to tribulation saints, millennial saints. They're not going to understand that when we got saved, the Holy Spirit came to live within us permanently. That was unknown. Okay? In the Old Testament, remember David? He cries out to God in Psalm 51, "Take not Thy Holy Spirit from me." Why? Because the ministry of the Holy Spirit was come and go. Okay? Today, it's a permanency. You never have to worry if I'm really saved if the Holy Spirit's going to leave me. He'll never leave me. That's why Jesus said, I'll be with you always. He said, it's good that I leave because I'm going to leave behind a comforter so that you'll be able to say, I'll always be with you. But in the tribulation, at the rapture, the Holy Spirit is taken because He's taken with us. So it looks like the Holy Spirit's ministry will revert back to how it was in the Old Testament. He would come and go. One man has said it's like the Holy Spirit has now residence in this world because He has residence in us. In the tribulation, it'll be more of a presence. He'll come and go. But think of the unsaved. Everyone who did not get saved when that rapture takes place. And remember, it could take place before the message is over. Okay? Every Christian's gone. Tracts? There's nobody giving out tracts. There's no bearing precious seed ministry where John and Romans are being sent out through the mail. Christians aren't giving out Bibles. Christians aren't going to the malls like we do in the winter. There's nobody going to Jane and Finch. There's nobody going knocking on doors. There's no soul winning. There's no churches. Oh, there are going to be churches, but it's going to be the big one world false church. But true lighthouses in the community are gone. There may be people in them that weren't saved that were coming to a good Bible-believing church. But the church, remember what Paul told Timothy? 1 Timothy, I believe it's 3:15. The church is to be the pillar and ground of the truth. You come to this local church, you ought to know, without any reservation, all I'm going to get is the Bible. Who cares what the pastor thinks? I don't even care what I think. All that matters is what the Lord thinks. And He's revealed that, all that we need to know right here. We don't have the answer to everything, but we have everything that we need to know how to live a godly life, to honor the Lord, to glorify Him, has been given to us. But there's a rejection. They don't get saved. Notice verse 10. And with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. They didn't receive the truth. Okay? They were deceived and believed a lie. And part of that lie may have been, just put it off a little bit. Think about it. Yeah, it's an important question. Think about it. Let's come back to that tomorrow. But you know, one day tomorrow's going to be too late. One day, an hour later, is going to be too late. That's why I always say at the invitation, you want to get saved, you better take care of business. There's no guarantee you'll make it back to your car. I mean, first of all, you might die, but secondly, you might make it and the rapture takes place. And let me tell you, kind of the end of the message, it's going to get really hard to get saved during the tribulation. You want to get saved, you better get saved now. You don't have all the assistance, Christians talking to you, family members talking to you, trying to urge you, persuade you about the things of God. There's not Bibles being sent to you or tracts given to you. No one's talking to you. No one's encouraging to you. There's no church of truth that I can turn to. They're all gone. But it goes back. The reason they are left behind is because they chose to reject the truth and did not receive it, that they might be saved. In John 1:12, Jesus said, "But as many as received Him, to them gave He power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on His name." In Matthew 23, verse 37 and 38, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets." Now think of this. The Lord would send prophets, speak to them. "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and you would not." Even after the pain they caused the prophets, killing them, stoning them, the mercy of God is still there. How often I would have taken you under my wings, I would have saved you, but you would not come. That's the individual will of man. I have a choice to receive or to reject the Lord Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. Verse 38 says, "Behold, your house is left unto you desolate." By refusing to come, Jerusalem, Jews, your house is desolate. That's the rejection. What's the ramification? This is the most sobering part of the message. Verses 11 and 12. "And for this cause." What's the cause? The preceding context. "You rejected me." Now, you rejected me because you believed a lie. You put your faith in a lie, and you put your faith in a deception. And because of that, for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. To me, this is one of the most difficult passages in the Bible to fully understand. I think, having checked with numerous conservative scholars, having studied out and prayed over it, I think the idea here I'm going to read you some quotes in just a minute. But the idea here is God is responding to how the unbeliever has already responded. God's going to send them delusion. This word has the idea of error and deceit. In all other times in our King James Bibles where it's translated, it's always translated. This is the only time it's delusion. All the other times are deceit and error. The idea there is an inworking error. So when I refuse Christ, I choose not to get saved, therefore that error that's working in me, that's caused me to believe, my own will choosing that, there's this inworking, and God sends this error, this inworking, something that's already there. God allows it to continue, that they would continue to believe the lie. It's emphatic in the original construction. God's at the beginning. God sends it. You see, God cannot put up with sin. He will not put up with rejection. God takes upon Himself, if this is the way you're going to respond, you're forcing my hand. Now, this is the way that I'm going to respond to you. God's going to send this delusion. He cannot be neutral towards sin. He's a judge. And He's a righteous judge. God has to deal with the sin. He allows this error and the moral and eternal consequences to continue. They've been under this power of deceit and error, and it ultimately just takes them to the end. Since they have already given into it and defied truth, God subjects them to the error of their own choice. I found a proverb that I think illustrates that. Proverbs 5, verse 21 and 22. For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and He pondereth all his goings. I take that to see everything a man does, Christian or lost, everything. God's just sitting back there going like this. I kind of see Him leaning, pondering. What are they doing there? Why are they doing that? Why aren't they doing that? Okay, so He pondereth all his goings. His own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. So his own choice of wickedness is going to result, these sinful choices is going to bring condemnation. It's his own sins, his own choice to do that. One man said this. I've got about 4 authors I'm going to read you just from this one verse to help us understand. One man said this, through sin, sin is punished. Men have refused salvation, and thus God gives them their desire. And that's to believe a lie. Dr. Hutchinson said this. I don't know the next 3 men. They're old-timers from several hundred years ago. Dr. J. Hutchinson said this, thus yielding to sin receives at last its punishment in the slavery of sin. The working of error has its aim in this, that they should believe the lie as opposed to the truth. Dr. R. South said this, of all the fatal effects of sin, none is so dreadful as that very sin that disposes one for another and gradually gets worse. By gradation, sin arrives at maturity. It is the only perpetual motion and needs nothing but a beginning to keep it going. The understanding in that case being like the eye which views a white thing through a red glass. This was how the Jews rejected the Savior. They saw His miracles and heard His words through the medium of, is this not the carpenter? Can any good come out of Nazareth? In other words, they're already tainted by what they're seeing and thinking. Dr. G. Sexton said this, the delusion to which they were subject is translated literally the inworking of error. The expression is a very important one. It shows the source and mode of operation of the error. The whole thing is internal and is opposed to the inworking of the Holy Spirit. Men pursue an evil course until they come to believe it to be right. Men very largely molds his own character and with his beliefs. And very often, alas, if he comes to believe a lie, and his doing so is entirely his own fault. The judge of all the earth will do right, but that very right may involve most fearful consequences. If the inworking of error goes on till the judgment comes, it will be an awful calamity to that man and whom it occurs. When the divine judgment is passed, there can be no dissenting voice, no sympathizers with the condemned, and even the heart of the criminal himself will bear testimony to the righteousness of the sentence. Does error come from God? No. But He abandons men to it when they have willfully and persistently broken the law of righteousness. Just as they fall into disease of body when a natural law has been violated. There is no help for this. The inworking of error necessarily carries with its own penalty. A penalty stamped on it by God. Thus God does not directly send the delusion, but the inworking of error is as much one of His laws as is the law of gravity. J.T. Reitman kind of summarizes all this in 6 statements. Number 1, everyone who takes pleasure in unrighteousness is under a strong delusion. Number 2, everyone who is under a strong delusion believes a lie. Number 3, everyone who believes a lie has rejected the truth. Number 4, everyone who rejects the truth will be judged by God. Number 5, everyone who shall be judged by God shall be damned for all eternity. And number 6, therefore everyone who receives the truth as it is in Jesus shall be saved. This is the picture of heaven. Outside of heaven, this is what Revelation 22:15 says, for without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. It's the truth. It's what the church is to be grounded upon. That's why the Bible is so important. We've got to believe the truth. That's why salvation is based only in the truth of who I am and my need for salvation. But God, as I thought about this is really how God has always worked. God has always worked based on the reaction of man. He gives man a choice. I thought of Pharaoh during the time of Moses. Exodus 8:30. And Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord, and the Lord did according to the word of Moses. And He removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants and from his people. There remained not one. And Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also. It would not let the people go. So God hardens His heart in response to Pharaoh hardening his heart. We see that in Romans 1 in the New Testament. Because that when they knew God, they glorified Him not as God. Neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations. There's that vanity in our mind, which we read in verse 3. And their foolish heart was darkened. Wherefore? So as a result of their choice, wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. God is always responding to how man responds to Him. And that's the idea of a delusion. I think we see it very clear in Proverbs 1. Let me read you about 6 or 7 verses here. Proverbs 1:24. Because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. So here's the picture of God. I want to help you. Marital, family, relationship, financial, health, your need, whatever it is, I'm there to save you, to help you. I'm stretching out my hand, even though probably sin has got you in all this problem. I'm there to help. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. He would not come. Listen to this. I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. It's too late. It's too late. You had your opportunity. Time and time again, God's reaching out. But now deceit and lies have taken over you. And you're probably calling out in worldly sorrow, just, God, get me out of this mess. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. Here's the reason why. For that they hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore, they shall eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. It's the choices we make today based on what God tells us to do. There's a lot of things Christians know they should be doing that Satan knows. He's going to try to deceive you and lie to you. You don't need to do that. Don't worry about your offerings. Just, here, come on. Help out. You've got all this going on. Hey, Lord, you don't have to serve. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to. He's going to lie and lie and lie. And God will let you refuse Him. He'll allow you to mock Him and ridicule Him and excuse away everything that He wants us to do. It's our own choice. But we'll have to suffer the consequences of that. And those consequences come in a lot of different ways. They come in health ways. They come to death sometimes. You see it all throughout the Bible. It comes to a lack of joy and unfulfillment. You're working as hard as you can, and you have holes, pockets with holes in them, and bags with holes. Why? Because I did not honor God with my time and my treasures and my talents. That's why the Bible says in Galatians 6:7, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That's the law of God. If I want to live and kind of live a casual Christian life, I will pay for that. I will pay for that. Because God is a righteous God and a judge. And He will handle that. I can't make somebody else do something. I control myself. I can't make my husband. I can't make my wife. I can't make my children. I can't make my pastor. I can't make other church people. I can't make my boss. Whoever. But I control me. And if we want to be right with God, have His blessing upon us, we've got to be right. That's the law of God. See, the Thessalonians, listen to what they did in 1 Thessalonians 2:13. For this cause we also thank we God without ceasing, because when ye received the word of God, which ye heard of us, ye received it, not as the word of men, but as it is in truth the word of God, which effectively worketh also in you that believe. Okay? You received the word of God, Thessalonians. That's why you're not going to go through this tribulation. You won't be left behind. You will be raptured away, Paul said, as I previously told you. So what's the summary here? I have two summaries. In the tribulation, it's going to be very hard to get saved. We know there's some to be saved. You read the book of Revelation, there'll be a number saved. A lot of them be martyred, but some of them will survive and go into the millennium. But that number compared to the rest of the world, because if you rejected the truth now, and you go into maybe tomorrow, the tribulation, thereabout starts, okay? Church is gone. Holy Spirit is gone. He still comes and goes, but He's gone. His permanent residence here. No tracts, no soul winners around work. None of this, okay? You've already believed the lie. God said, I'm going to send you strong delusion. It's going to be hard. It's going to be much harder to get saved in the tribulation. I think of the odds. There's articles written about the odds of when people get saved. They say between age 1 and 7 are the greatest odds of somebody getting saved. And in between like 8 to 13, 14, there's another large percentage that gets saved. The most is younger. But as you get older, it goes down to minuscule number of people that get saved the older they get. Why is that? Just rejecting. They believe a lie. And then you go into the tribulation, it's already an inworking of error. God just lets you go your way. You had your choice. One of the most conservative authors that I have in my library, and I have a lot of liberals and I pull that stuff, good and bad, but one of the most prolific Christian writers, scholars, man with an earned, THD, Dallas Seminary, very conservative school, John Walvoord. Actually, my wife and I were at a church service where he preached many, many years ago. Okay? Just an eminent scholar. He wrote a commentary on this verse, and this is what he said. I respect what he says because of who he is. He said this, some understand from verse 11 that if a person in this present age of grace hears the gospel and does not receive Christ as a Savior, then when Christ comes and takes His church home to glory, these will find it impossible to be saved after the church is translated. It is unlikely that a person who rejects Christ. Now, what I want you to do is take a moment and think of your loved one. That's who we think about most. It just comes naturally. Mother, father, uncle, aunt, child, spouse, okay? Brother, sister in the church, maybe their friend, someone we're praying about, maybe a co-worker, a boss, a neighbor, okay? It is unlikely after the rapture this person will be saved. Who rejects Christ in the day of grace will turn to Him in that awful period of tribulation. But the usual principle of Scripture is that while there is life, there is hope. It is possible, though very improbable, that a person who has heard the gospel in this present age of grace will come to Christ after the rapture. The Scriptures definitely teach that God will send strong delusion to those who do not believe after the church is gone. God will judge their hearts, and if they deliberately turn away from the truth, He will permit them to believe a lie. They will honor the man of sin as their God and as their king, instead of acknowledging the Lord Jesus Christ. The result will be that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Very sobering truth for two people. One, for anybody that's unsaved. No matter how close. There's all kinds of people in the Bible. I think it was Agrippa. And Paul said, I know you believe the prophets. And he says later, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. But we never hear of him getting saved. You think somebody high up in the hierarchy like that, the Bible would have mentioned, don't hear of him getting saved. I will hear of thee again. Don't hear that again. Almost is still destined for hell. No matter how close you get. And you have to pray as an unbeliever that God does not have the rapture take place until I make that decision. But unfortunately, that's in His hand. Only the Father knows when He's coming. Don't gamble with your soul if you're unsaved. Because you're believing a lie now, that's why you're not saved. It'll be much easier to continue to believe a lie. And that goes for all of those around us. So the second imperative for it's not only the unsaved, but for the saved. What do we do? What do we do with those around us that we love to death? They've been a part somehow of some relationship in our life. We need to try to win them to the Lord as much as we can before it's too late, because it'll be much harder. Satan would have us believe, well, when the rapture takes place, it'll open up all the eyes of the unsaved and they'll say, oh, wow, when I heard those Christians, they talked to me about the rapture, oh, wow, it's true, I'm just going to get saved. That's a lie from the pit of hell. That's what Satan wants you to believe, so that you don't talk to people. So that's my last point, and we already looked at 2 of the points. We've looked at the unveiling, the unbeliever, and the urgency. That was last week. And we looked at verse 15, stand and seize, and the third point is soul win. And I'm going to have to reduce what I'm going to say, but this is the urgency of these last days, maybe last hours, maybe last minutes before Christ comes. Proverbs 11:30 says, he that winneth souls is wise. Daniel talks about those in Daniel 12, verses 2 and 3, turning many to righteousness. Paul used that word persuade, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. In 1 Corinthians 9, about 6 verses, for necessity is laid upon me, yea, woe unto me if I preach not the gospel. See, the problem is today, we don't have a woe upon us. I don't feel burdened. Woe if I don't. Paul says, woe if I don't go. I have a woe, so I go. And that's my primary thing. Trying to reach people for Christ as I go about my other responsibilities in life and other things in ministry. It's not just about soul winning. It's about baptism, about discipleship, about singing and music. And all these things are part of the Christian life. But I can't neglect maybe the greatest, and that's reaching out to people with the gospel. In that passage, Paul says, I'll do anything I can that I might gain the Jews, that I might gain them without the law, that I might gain the weak, that I might by all means save some. Verse came to me this morning, 1 Corinthians 15:34. Paul says to the Corinthians, awake to righteousness. He's writing to Christians. Wake up! Wake up! Awake to righteousness and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame. Paul's going like this. Shame on you, Christians. That's what my mother used to do, okay? Shame on you, son. You know better than that. Shame on you, Christian. God has put people around you that don't know how to be saved. If you don't go and share with them, you've sinned. Some have not the knowledge. They don't know how to be saved. I purposely put them at your workplace, in your neighborhood, in your extended family. I put them there purposely. And I place you there so that they can at least hear how to be saved. You can't make them get saved because they have a will. But awake to righteousness and stop sinning. That is the urgency of the message today in these last moments before Christ comes. Ezekiel talks about giving the warning to the wicked. That's our responsibility. To be that watchman, warn the wicked. Ezekiel 33:11, saying to them, as I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil ways. Why? For why will ye die, O house of Israel? The Lord doesn't want to send anybody to hell. God's not willing any should perish, but all should come. Repentance. And He chooses you and me. You and me. Yeah, I'm just a new Christian. I don't know that much. If you're saved, if you got the gift of eternal life, how can you not care for someone who's going to burn in eternity? Plead with them. They're not going to understand that as much. We Christians are supposed to understand that. We know the urgency. We believe the truth. David Johnson said this, Lord, lay some soul upon my heart, and love that soul through me. And may I nobly do my part to win that soul to Thee. J.B. Chapman said this, young man, young woman, make the most of your life. Go after souls. Go after them the best way you know, but go after them. Do not listen to those who warn you that you will offend or be driven away by your persistence. Go after souls. Go after them by public and private testimony. Go after them by service and by prayer, but go after them. Go after them with love and a burdened heart. Go after them by kind deeds. Go after them by song and praise. Go after them when they are bereaved and in sorrow. Go after them when they are especially favored of God and men, but go after them. The soul-winning life is your life. Make the most of it. David Brainerd, a missionary to the American Indians, my wife and I visited a graveyard in Tennessee that was named after him. He lived from 1718 to 1747, 29 years of age. He died. A missionary. Listen to this quote. I cared not where or how I lived, or what hardships I went through, so that I could but gain souls to Christ. While I was asleep, I dreamed of these things. And when I awoke, the first thing I thought of was this great work. All my desire was for the conversion of the heathen, and all my hope was in God. When I was a little boy, my aunt lived with us. She's a single lady, had gone through a medical crisis, and she lived with our family. She loved to go fishing. And so she would always tell us, come on, kids, my sister and myself, you got to get up. And my mom would, of course, go, and get up, come on. I mean, it's so dark outside. Come on, we're going fishing today. We're going fishing today. We got to get there early because the fish are biting. Only bite early. We can't be late or they're not going to bite. And so, we're tired and getting up. We wanted to go fishing. We loved her and thought it'd be fun. So we're getting up. We're just tired and everything. Hurry, come on, hurry. We got to get going before it's too late. Christians, we got to get up and get going before it's too late. And the fish don't want to bite. Jesus said, if you follow after me, I will make you to become fishers of men. Am I following? Am I a fisher? How many, since I've been alive, have I caught? Remember last week, we had that motto of the United States Army Rangers and the United States Marines, no man left behind. Christian, you got to wake. Doesn't seem to be much time at all. Let's win as many as we can. Let's put the wool upon ourselves. Those ones that God places around us by His perfect design and His plan. May we win those. Do everything we can before it's too late. Let's pray. Our heads are bowed and our eyes are closed. The invitation hymn this morning is Just As I Am. Great old hymn written in the 1800s. Just as I am without one plea, but that Thy blood was shed for me, and that Thou didst bidst me come to Thee, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. If you're not saved this morning, don't gamble with your soul. You could be eternally. One of the worst things in hell is memory. You'll remember you had a chance to get saved. Get saved today. God loves you. He doesn't want anybody to perish. Come to Him today. All you have to do is say, God, I'm a sinner. I can't save myself. I turn and put my trust in Jesus Christ and Him alone. I believe He was God, became a man, was crucified, died, buried, and rose again the third day. I put my faith in Him to remove my sins and take me to heaven. Come into my heart. I receive you, Lord Jesus. Let me pray for you this morning. No one's looking around. I'm asking every head to be bowed. Christians are in prayer. If you're here, if you're watching, raise your hand. God will see your heart. I want to be saved. I put it off too long. I'm not going to believe a lie anymore. I want to be saved right now. And God, I mean business. I'm not playing. God, you see my heart. I want to be saved today. Anyone like that? Put your hand up and put it down. I'm not calling you. I can say a prayer for you though. Anyone like that? Quickly put it up and put it down. Christian, you're here. Is there urgency upon your life? Boy, life has so many things that we call urgent. We are the worst sometimes at balancing our life. Too many personal things get priority. The house, the yard, the car. What's the Lord going to say? What are we doing with our time, our treasures, and our talents? How are we investing in eternity? How are we investing in the lost souls around us? Maybe you need to come to the altar this morning. Talk to the Lord about something. Seraphina plays, just as I am. You come. If you've got questions on how to become a Christian, you come. We'll help you to know the Lord today. You come as the piano plays. This might be the last week, Christians. We have an opportunity to speak with that soul that God has placed around us. Person here, this might be your last opportunity to trust Christ as your Savior. I hope you get many more. But I know that the Bible tells us we cannot count on one breath. God is a God of grace right now, mercy, forgiveness. But you got to take it. You got to take that hand, reach out to Him. God, I'll take that hand. I'll be saved today. Or God, I'll take that hand of forgiveness. I'm sorry. I've been sleeping. I've been lazy. I've been putting some things off. I should have been more involved. I should have been doing this and that. I'm sorry, God. And God will forgive you. And when God forgives, He forgets. You get a fresh start today. Many are at the altar today. You come. Come just as you are. You don't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to do this or that. You just come as you are. The Lord receives you. We humble ourselves. Don't believe the lies of Satan. He's a liar. He's a murderer. He murders people around us because we don't talk to them and they don't get saved. Because he deadens us. Don't believe the lie. Don't believe the excuses. Well, I'm just a little timid. I'm afraid of what they might say. Jesus loved them and asked you, commanded you to go and tell others. Father, thank you for the time this morning in your word. I pray, Lord, this is to me, an unbelievably sobering message, both to the lost and to the saved. Especially when we consider the odds, the chances of people not living spiritual living and they get raptured away and they're left behind. The lies and deceits that already is working in them, Lord, it's going to be easier to believe the lie. This is our opportunity. Lord, light a fire under us. Help us not to worry what others might say, but what someday you're going to say to those around us. Depart from me. I never knew you. Use this message in the weeks ahead, Lord, in each of our lives. Well, thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.